Today on the podcast, we have Vincent MaGee, aka Porte. And for those that don't know Porte, he's a local DJ in Portland. And I wouldn't even consider him I guess he's a local DJ, but he does a lot of stuff all over the West Coast. And it's been always really great sort of connecting with him since I moved to Portland and seeing his journey and just all the things that he's able to do. And so he does a lot of DJ sets. He mixes and masters. He's really kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to audio and sound design. And, being a local for Portland, he understands the history of Black creatives and the party scene and just really all the extracurricular outlets that Black people sort of enjoy and long for when the sun comes out and the weather gets hot. And he also sees the hindrances and the problems with how Portland responds to the Black community and Black culture being expressed. And so it was a great conversation about just navigating the creative space and the trials and tribulations of really paving your own path and owning sort of your creativity to make a living for yourself. And it's just admirable to see sort of like the community building around creativity and how it pushes us through all these things despite all the horrendous things that are happening, with gigs being canceled, social distancing. A lot of people are getting hit, and it's really the community that gets us through because when all this is done, that's when they're going to flourish too. And so, it's just a matter of us sort of sticking together. And I think our conversation really sort of reflected how people are feeling, whether you are laid off on your job or just had projects that you were looking to work on, but you just don't have the opportunity to anymore, traveling plans, etc. And so without further ado, let's start the podcast. Thanks for joining the podcast and just really agreeing to kind of just sit down and stuff, because I know it's always like, it's hectic for like people to, hop on chats and stuff and social distancing and trying to figure out how to like get paid again and like, all that stuff. It's wild. This is wild.
I feel like this is definitely an interesting time to do this because did you reach out like right before all this shit happened or right after?
It was like right after. It was after because because I kind of been like building this project out for a while, and it kind of got to a point where it's like, okay, it's ready to go with this because other stuff just fell through. It was rough.
At this point, it's just like if you asked me a month ago, I think my responses would be very different. Actually, you know what? I don't know what you're going to ask me per se, but I feel like, you gave me a general synopsis when you reached out to me initially. I just feel like there's definitely going to be a different perspective that I have, but there's also going to be some continuity between pre-corona and post-corona when it comes to like my perspective on it.
Oh yeah.
I was actually talking to my homie Anthony about it a little bit today. So I don't know. I'm not going to assume what you're going to bring up, but it's interesting to me to see how different I would respond. Which, I don't know.
Yeah. So let's just like kind of get into it. So like, what are you doing now?
Now? Shit.
Or just in general? Like, what do you do?
So, in general, pre-corona, okay. Honestly, like, just to start off, like, I feel like I wasn't really too much into money and shit. So, a lot of shit I did wasn't always reciprocal when it came to like actual dollar bills, but it had more value when it came into like my community, and it helped me survive. So I would start with that and say that the things I did was, I DJ, I curate events. I've helped, facilitate small community groups from deep underground to shit. I mean, like, I wouldn't say that I facilitated, but like help other people achieve their goals as being a DJ or an artist, and that sparked like like Noche Libre and other things like that. But I'm not gonna say that it was my idea. It was more like reaching out to the homies in the community, people reaching out to me, asking me about what it is to be a DJ. Chuck Pasta, all these other people. So I feel like I base my relationships. My business is relationships, I should say.
Okay.
Literally. Like, simply put, my business is relationships. I feel like, as introverted as I am, I'm very outgoing too. I feel like I'm a blend between both. And like when I go out, like I'll build real relationships with like owners of restaurants and bars, and that translates into me DJing at those establishments, or maybe doing a pop-up event or something, or just like when my friends come in from out of town, I bring them to the spot and they hook it up, and it builds this external family of sorts. And I think that with the current situation of things, it's like people that do like regular work, like the 9 to 5 and shit like that, like they're all like, damn, what the fuck's going on? Oh my god. Like, and then I was talking to my homies and I was like, man, I was tripping the first couple of days, but now I'm like, wait a minute, we've been doing this shit, we've been broke, we've been bartering, like we've been like going to a bar or restaurant, and our homies, that's the chef or the bartender or the owner for that matter, will hook us up, knowing that the value that we bring into these spaces is more than they paid us monetarily, or even just within the relationship. So like, I appreciate you, like, here, have this, have that. So for us, like, if the whole market crashed and we go back to bartering, it's like we've already been doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this right here is just like a rough draft, because I'm kind of just rambling at this point.
I mean, it's honestly like, I'm not a journalist. I know how to record stuff. I know how to save it as a file, and I know how to like mix and master it so that it like looks halfway decent. It's
so with me saying this right now, I have a better idea of what direction I want to go.
Yeah.
So we can do like if we can restart, you know what I'm saying? Then that'd be good. No, because I'm thinking out loud. I'm like, okay, all right, now I get where I want to go. Because I mean, honestly, the hardest part for me when people say like, "What do you do?" It's like I do a lot of things, and I'm passionate about all of those things. And I think a lot of times when people ask, "What do you do?" they really mean, "What do you do to make money?" You know what I mean? Like, what is your career?
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes when a majority of an artist's life is figuring that shit out, like figuring out how to monetize their shit without compromising their artistic integrity or their values when it comes to what they're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people's art is like the way of healing and coping, or like expressing themselves in ways that they can't normally express themselves. When I was younger, I feel like I would get really angry and frustrated because I didn't have the right words to express certain feelings I had, but I can express it through music, making a playlist or whatever, things in that nature. And so when you get to the point where like you get paid at a bar or someplace to like DJ, and then people assume like, oh, your job is to cater to us to exactly what we want to hear. It's like, I get it, I can read the crowd, but I can still play the way I want to play while implementing what I think the crowd would like. But it's just like a lot of times people just want to hear the song they know, not even a song that sounds like the song they know, or the song they know took inspiration from, or you know what I mean? And like DJs used to be on the forefront of the game. It's like before the rappers and shit, the rappers were the ones that were the hype men for the DJs. And I'm not saying that like DJs should be on the forefront or anything like that. It's just that I think at this point, being a DJ is belittled. You know, anybody can DJ at this point, and I think the important part of DJing is being a digger, like a crate digger. Like whether you was digging for records back in the day, CDs, tapes, or even in the fucking torrenting era of like Napster, Aries, LimeWire, and all that shit. Like, you know, people don't understand. Like niggas was trying to get music on dial-up, which meant like,
man,
you was
like when you would just you would set up a whole bunch of different files on like Kazaa or LimeWire, and then you would go to sleep, and then hopefully all that mess downloaded. Hopefully all that mess downloaded the next morning.
Some of them shits took, and you talking about the next morning. That's when we started getting broadband too, though. Like I feel like dial-up. You know, you wake up in the morning and you realize that you had the part about dial-up is what was the thing? You had to pay for extra service because if somebody called or received a phone call, you would lose connection.
Yeah, you had one phone line. And so what I found out, because I used to get in trouble every time I would come home from school, because I would walk home from school and I would like try to like download stuff. Because this is when I got that like iPod Shuffle, you know, like the little thumb drive one.
Yeah.
And so I would so this is when I got the iPod Shuffle, and I would go on LimeWire, or it would be like Kazaa or LimeWire, and I would just download a whole bunch of stuff. I was like obsessed with Nappy Roots, so I would try to like download their whole album, and it would be like 20 different files of the same song, but I would have to wait until everybody went to sleep, and then I would go online and I would download it, and then I would have to hurry up and wake up before everybody woke up, so that my mom and dad wouldn't trip that I was on the internet for like 12 hours.
I mean, so you had the dial-up, you had the broadband, even with the broadband cable shit in the beginning. Nah, even it was because you had different, or DSL. Was it DSL?
DSL is DSL was like the Ethernet one.
So when DSL came out, that's when you was able to like be on the internet and on the computer at the same time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like as fast as like broadband and shit. Because I remember they had DSL, they had T1 connection, all that
T3.
shit.
I remember somebody had T3. I think it was like T3 or something.
I mean, so didn't it go from T1 and then go up? Didn't they like it was T3?
I don't know because I didn't get high speed internet until I got to college. So
I just remember when you would go to download the music, it was like you know, you would look for T3 or something because the person that is hosting that file has a fast connection. And if somebody had a slow connection that uploaded the file, even if you had a fast connection at home, it would take forever to download.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But like, you know, it's just funny, like, people don't really think about the work that's put into a lot of different, you know, careers. I mean, we're just realizing, I mean, not we, but I think the general public is starting to realize how important these jobs are that have been shat on for so long. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, if motherfuckers stop picking up trash right now, what would you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're talking about coronavirus and shit. If nobody picked up trash, then what? You know, so, you know, it goes to like the DJing or even like promoting parties or throwing parties. Like, you know, people say, oh, you're a DJ. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But I also like facilitate events. I like, you know, stay connected with different people, making sure that things get done from the graphic designer to the people doing the live visuals to if there was an incident at some event or something, that I'm making sure that I'm talking to the ownerships of the venues, to the security people. Like, I'm doing all these things not really getting paid for those things, but it's just more like that's just all the hats that you have. You know, somebody as yourself knows, like when you have, you know, a lot of things going on in your day with your schedule and something shifts it or puts it out of line, like you still have to keep adjusting and keep it moving. And, you know, I just feel like a lot of creatives out here do that and don't really get the respect for that. Monetarily, for sure.
Yeah, it's really easy to kind of get caught in that too, to where like you doing something that you really don't like. You had an interest in doing it, but like the people that you're working with or whatever, like just are kind of killing the vibe of it. And then after a while, it's be like, dang, I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid for this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or it just kind of, it affects it. But it's like,
do you really want to do what you love to make money though?
Yeah.
Because in a sense, you know, and I tell a lot of my friends that, you know, they're like passionate about certain things. They're like, yo, I think I can do this as my career. And it's like, that's great. But at the end of the day, like, there's certain artists, for example, that I look at where I'm like, I want to model my shit after these people. Like, I mean, Andre 3000 is one of them. But then you have like, you know, people that did it from the get-go that didn't like blow up, but like are like internationally famous.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather be popping in Japan and nobody knows I'm popping in Japan. Or like popping in Africa somewhere where motherfuckers didn't know I was even popping anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I can come back home and be chilling. Like, everybody wants to be famous. This is why with social media, you know, you got all these people doing TikToks and all this shit, and it's devaluing the work that and time and blood, sweat, and tears that these other people have put into the craft that they've been doing for so long. And I'm not saying some of these people aren't talented, you know, like Supreme Dreams and what's that dude's name? I don't know. Is it Mark something? You ever watch you watch anime, right?
Yeah.
So you know that you don't see the group of black dudes that be like reenacting animes and doing.
Oh yeah, like, yeah, like a King Vader and stuff.
Yeah, but these cats is better than King Vader to me. I feel like all King Vader does is like just dance to song. I mean, the videos are funny. I ain't gonna front, but I'm gonna send you the link.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I've
it's like
gone through
Supreme Dreams _1 or something.
Yeah,
and then, like they have RDC World. Yeah. So like they're funny. Like now, so that's what I'm saying is like those are the type of people where I'm like, okay, you're using this platform to really branch out and like elevate above other people. So I'm not trying to belittle people that use the platform per se.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that, you know what I mean, it gets, you know, watered down, the quality. It's like all you gotta do is, you know, come up with some sort of catchy challenge and then like everybody and their moms is gonna do it. You know what I mean? And then it's like it's this sheep mentality versus like I'm trying to like use this platform to elevate above everybody else. Same with DJing. It's like I've been asked so many times about can I teach them to DJ or whatever, and the first thing they ask me is where do you find your music?
It's like what?
I mean, shit. Like that's the thing is like, do you want me to tell you the legal way or the? I mean, for me at this point, when I started making money DJing, I started buying music seriously. Like, you know, it's just faster just to buy the song. Like nowadays, you don't have to buy the whole albums and shit. So it's like, buy the song.
Yeah, just drop like $10, get a bunch of songs and kind of go from there. You know, and it's.
But then like back in the day, I would my life hack was this, fam. I go to the public library and just rent CD or check out CDs and just burn them on my computer.
Hey,
and
man,
that's how
I used to do that with Xbox games. And so
they had Xbox games at the library.
So what I would do is, I would. Well,
did you have the chip? You have your chip modified?
Yeah. So I modded my Xbox because it had like that red ring of death on it, and so I opened it up, put a mod chip in it, and brought it back to life.
Mhm.
and I would go and I would like rent games from like what was it, like Blockbuster, GameFly. Like I'll rent games from GameFly, and I would just put it in there, save it, put it on my hard drive, and then send it back that next day and rent another one. And I
Mhm.
would just do that. And so it was, I don't even think I like played half of those games, but I got them.
I just find it interesting because, like, in a sense, this life hack wasn't even, you didn't even have to mod a chip for it. I mean, at this point, most computers had the access give you access to rip CDs through iTunes and
Yeah.
whatever other media player you use. And, like, they literally, bro, it was to the point where if you looked up their entire inventory and they didn't have a CD, you tell them you want it, they will buy it.
Hmm.
Or like let's say there was a CD that was checked out a long time ago, but like there's 20 people on the wait list for that CD, and you're like, hey, like, can you just buy another one since there's only one in the database, and they would do it. And so just like yeah, but it's like, I mean, I used to work in the summer and use all my money in the summer to buy CDs. Like that's how committed I was to that shit. Now in hindsight, I wish I was buying records back then. But
I mean, yeah, it's which,
shit,
but nobody thinks of it. Nobody thinks like records are going to make a comeback, especially when like the iPod came out and MP3s and all that stuff. Like,
I think for me though, like I understand and I understand and appreciate the value of things being digital as far as like our carbon footprint and shit like that. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, like, you ever seen this movie Equilibrium?
man, that's my favorite movie.
Bruh, one of
Look
mine
at
too.
it's like what is the oh, have you played Devil May Cry?
I have, but I haven't like played it to the extent of knowing the entire story.
Yeah, so like so when you have like the two pistols, that is like that's one of the reasons why I love
Mm,
playing that game is because the two pistols, it's literally like, straight out of that movie. It's
that
like,
is true. Yeah, I remember that shit. But no, like, for me, it's like there's something more to the whole process of music when you had, if you think about it, like, I grew up we grew up in the era, so I feel like we're in the same age range.
yeah.
We grew up in the era where, I remember cassettes, I remember CDs. So CDs would be like our primary era, and then I feel like we're the last generation of like the analog and digital age where like motherfuckers had to remember phone numbers at one point. I remember I had to remember, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I had to remember phone numbers, and now I don't remember nobody's phone numbers because I have the phone book on my phone, and my phone dies, I'm screwed type shit. So it's kind of like, so I look at the importance of not always going for what's convenient. And like, even if a record's $20 and I can get the album online for 10, or get Spotify and stream that shit for a flat rate or whatever, there's a sense of ownership that I really appreciate and value. Which, I mean, it's definitely a materialistic way of looking at it, but it's just like when people make cover art, they made it for the record. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up looking at the CD booklets, right?
Uh-huh.
But like, the record, the dimensions of a record sleeve is like a perfect fucking canvas. Like, you could literally put that shit on your wall and frame it. People do that shit. And it's like, nowadays, if people put a lot of time and effort into the visual aspect of the album, it's not gonna be respected as much. Like, it's not gonna be appreciated as much, because with the digital content, it's like easy come, easy go. Remember there was a point in time when motherfucker was putting out mixtapes all the time. Currency put out mixtape every month for like a year or some shit.
Yeah, and it was like three
Because
guys doing the same sort of album covers for that, and they all look the same.
yeah, but because it's about he realized that, like, yo, I mean, Currency been in the game for so fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually somebody that I fuck with when it comes to, like, okay, I I don't want to, like, I'm good at knowing about, like, projecting people's careers. Like, you can ask my mom, you can ask my homie Tay. I'm going to tell you this story about Drake. Like, literally, it was like when comeback season came out. So he wasn't even popping. I remember, like, my guilty pleasure was watching Degrassi back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
I mean, on Noggin?
yeah. Before Noggin, bro. Like, I don't even, somewhere else. I don't remember. It was like an actual Canadian channel. And because my grandparents had a satellite dish before.
Oh, okay.
And with the satellite dish, you was able to get, like, other fucking channels. But, like, no, like, I used to watch that shit. And then, later on, at this point, I wasn't watching it as heavy. But I remember I went to my grandparents' house. And it was on. It was like an episode that showed Drake, like, in his bedroom or in his studio in his basement or whatever. Like, he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be a rapper, blah blah blah. And, like, myself, I was like, man, I laughed. And then, like, I want to say, like, 2 years later, I would say 2 years later, maybe a year, 2 years later, he had that song with Trey Songz called "Replacement Girl," and I was like, okay, this is a good song. It's cool. And then comeback season came out a year after, and then I was like, this dude is actually not bad. Like, he's pretty tight. I ain't gonna front. And I remember this in between comeback season is So Far Gone. Drake Drake had his this is MySpace days, bro. Still,
Yeah.
this is back when like you couldn't have a Facebook unless you were actually in college.
Yeah, so that's like, what? That was like 06?
I graduated in 07. So this was like, I want to say this was like 07 for me. I want to say this is when Facebook started to let more people on it, but there was still people on MySpace. So it was like 07, 08. I want to say 08 because 09 is when, like, So Far Gone had its official release, but it came out originally in 08. So right before So Far Gone came out, I think I heard, like, some tracks off of that too. He was on MySpace. He had an instant messenger. Like, he had his instant messenger in his description and all that shit. And I was, like, messaging him about fucking coming to Portland. And he was like, at that time, he was just like, yeah, can I get $3,000 and 3 hotel rooms? So at this point, I'm thinking it's him. Like, in hindsight, I'm like, it's probably him, 40, and, like, I don't know, some DJ or some whatever random person. And I was just like, I could probably get you your own room. Because, I mean, I'm looking at him as like, okay, he's already been acting and shit. Like, he's already been doing shit. I'm not going to treat him like he ain't, Like, you can get your own room, but I don't know about the other two. They can share a room. He's like, all right, cool. And I was talking to my homie Tay because Tay was doing First Call. And First Call is like, it's like when people die and they don't have, like, any relatives or something, like, they're the ones that come pick them up and take them to the mortuary. I don't know if it's about the relatives. It's like they'll go to nursing homes and other places where people are just, like, living by themselves, I should say, and they would pick them up. And so they were doing that since high school. I think him and my homie Vince Dixon was doing that since senior year of high school. Like, they would go to school and then that night do that shit. So he had some bread, and I was a broke student at PSU, or going to PSU, and I was just like, hey, I don't have the money. I was like, bro, this is how much it's going to cost. Like, I was like, man, I feel like we could still have him do Roseland or some shit at that point, because I know people are following him, even if it was just for acting. I just feel like we still can get people to fill up the space. I was like, we're going to have to get $1 million liability insurance and all this other shit. But, like, hey, I don't want none of the money. All I want is that, because at the time I had started this brand or company that I call Infinity Entertainment, and I was like, bro, all I want is my branding to be the main thing when it comes to, like, bringing Drake to Portland. And he was like, all right, cool, that sounds cool. And then time goes by, nothing happens, and, like, I wasn't trying to press people. I'm just kind of like, yo, if you ain't really about it, it's whatever. When do you think the first time Drake came to Portland was? To, like, perform?
Was it
Just name an album, because I'm bad with years. Name what album was probably out when he came. Because he came before, but he didn't come to perform. Because, you know, does Jordan and shit.
Yeah. I'm thinking. I feel like was it around the time of like the Drake versus Lil Wayne stuff, or was it before that? Because I'm thinking like 20. I'm thinking like 20, like 12, 2013.
Hold on. I'm going to Google that shit real quick. Because...
Yeah, I feel like it was either like 2013 or it was like one time before that.
I want to say it was definitely after 2012. It was definitely like on some 2014 type shit or something like that.
Yeah, it was the Drake versus Lil Wayne stuff because that was the one that I went to. So it was definitely Drake versus Lil Wayne.
So all I'm going to say is, for somebody that was trying to bring him to Portland in 2008, and the first time he came was like 2014, and the date, we're not saying that's 2014 for sure, but I know that it was later on. Like, imagine being the person that brought him first, because I know this is how it works. It's like, people don't want to work with janky promoters, so like if you had a good relationship with somebody before, you're going to continue to do business with that person unless they show you otherwise that they're not somebody to do business with. And it's just funny that it took that long for him to come to Portland.
Yeah, it's I think something that's like very similar is I'm a big E40 fan. And like E40 to me, coming from the Bay Area, like E40 is like Hustler 101, like wordsmith galore, like pretty much like a modern day Dr. Seuss. And so with it, he is probably the only sort of like influencer I know that has never like written a book or never like done that.
Didn't he come out with a dictionary? No, but I remember he was on 106 in Park talking about he was coming out with his own dictionary. It never came out.
He's never made a book. Never made a book. He has, and so me, knowing me, I make books, and I now I'm in like the augmented reality book game now, and so it's like, I've been like pushing this sort of this desire to like make an augmented reality book with E40, where he essentially is like Dr. Seuss. And like you listen to his voice and all that stuff, it kind of comes to life, and you're like, having that crazy experience that you can't have with just like a regular book or like a digital book. It's like an immersive experience. And so it's like, every year I go by, he still never makes a book. He still never makes that children's book, that like Dr. Seuss book. And so it's like, it's like I want to be I want to like make that happen, but it's it's tough when you can't just like call somebody up, pay that money, and do all that without running into hassles. And so
that's real.
Like it's but for me, it's just I just try to just speak it into existence until that actually comes to be, because
I mean, honestly, bro, like I mean, you're one of the people that really, like, if you say you're gonna do some shit, you're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you work way too fucking hard to not get it done. I mean, I think if you created just like a demo version of that shit, I mean, even if it wasn't his likeness, maybe you need him to like be around so you can actually get his likeness to the T. But even if you made like some cartoonish version of him and just showed him, I'm sure he'd be down. Like, because the upper hand you have is like, it's the future. I'm quite sure people probably reached out to him about doing a book, like an actual book before.
Yeah.
And I think, he still should do a fucking book. I don't know why he don't do no book for the kids, man. Like, so I mean, like, honestly, like, I feel like because it's future forward, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure he'd be down. He just needs to see it.
Yeah.
Experience it,
Yeah. And I think that kind of touches on like what you were talking about earlier, where, pursuing the creative stuff and wanting to get paid for like the stuff that you enjoy. I mean, you have to have a passion with that, but you also have to understand. You have to kind of make a distinction between like, are you trying to get paid off of the skill set that you have, or are you trying to get paid off of like the creative stuff that you're producing? Because I think, for me, what I found is that, I'm like, okay, I want to make like AR books. I want to make animation. I want to do that stuff. But then I start getting things down the pipeline that I'm like, what the heck is like, I don't want to do the stuff that like people were wanting to pay me for. I just want to get paid doing my stuff. And you don't really realize that there's such a difference in those two things until you're stuck doing something that you don't really enjoy doing.
And I think, just playing off of that, just like relating it back to the DJ aspect or anything like that, like, I have a lot of homies that get burnt out from DJing and shit. And I think the main difference between me and them, even though I've been burnt out before, is I know where I'm going. Like, I know, like, this DJ shit was always a stepping stone for me. But when people saw it, they're just like, oh, he's really good at it, so that's his thing. Like, all right, keep thinking that that's where I want to be, and then I'm gonna show you, like, it's bigger than this. You know what I'm saying? I think it has a lot to do with ego too. I mean, not even just ego, but like artists are very sensitive about their work.
I would say it's a little. It wouldn't be ego. I think it's pride. I think it's pride.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pride. That's good. Yeah.
Because it's like
people are very sensitive about their work, and so at the end of the day, it goes back to what I was saying about the physical shit. It's like the experience of something. It's like if you put all this time and effort into putting out an album and you drop that album, and like even with popular artists, people might vibe. There was a point in time where people were vibing to that album for a week, and the next week, the next Tuesday, something dropped. They would have forgot about that album because they're on to the next.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There was nothing tangible, and so it's not ego. Sorry, but I think pride. I think with some people it is ego. I think there's a thin line where like your pride is hurt, and then artists are very sensitive people. Artists are very insecure too. I think we don't.
I mean, the foundation of working on something for so long is kind of like that therapeutic piece as well.
Yeah, so you're doing, it's like, bro, I'm guilty of this, bro. I'm guilty of being that fan, right? That would listen to a band or artist, whatever, rapper, whoever, singer, and then like the third album come around, I'm just like, why does it sound like this? Why are they not sticking to the formula or whatever? And then
it's like every Kid Cudi album for the past like 3 years.
but it's like once you become the artist and you experience the shit yourself, you realize this shit has nothing to do with us, fam. It's like, yo, the way that I chose my model, bro, was I'm gonna do shit my way, and there's people that are gonna resonate with it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that my way doesn't include putting people into consideration. I'm all about balance, but it's like these requesting me to play certain things and all this other shit. Like, I have no problem telling people no to their face. I don't care how beautiful she is, her friend's birthday. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, for me, it's like, and I will say this, I do take requests sometimes. I think it has to do with just how people approach you. Like, sometimes people will come up and they'll literally just compliment on how great you're doing and leave, and then come back later and say, hey, like, still great work. I'm just wondering, like, do you have this song? Like, or they'll say, yo, I think this song would go really well with this. There's been ways that people have approached me where I'm just like, oh yeah, this will work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy. Like, it helps me improve. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, it's not like I'm not open to that shit, listening to people that, I'm not going to say fans, but people that appreciate the work or people that are experiencing what I'm doing. But I think there's this entitlement when it comes to people consuming it. Capitalism. It's like, if you pay for something, you're entitled to it how you want it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whether
or that
that's
like you don't own the experience that you're having, you own the existence of the overall thing. And
yeah,
it's like this wasn't your idea. You just purchased the access ticket.
yeah, you purchase your way into the bar. Matter of fact, you're not even purchasing your way in the bar. You just buying drinks, and you tip the bar. And this is the thing. I love my bartender homies too. But it's like, I look at it this way. It's like, bartenders deal with a lot. They deal with drunk people, all that shit. They have to talk to them, deal with them. You know what I'm saying? Damage control, all that. So I get it. Like, they tip them all the time. But when I think about the ratio of like what people are willing to do tip wise, because it's a customary, it's like this is what they're used to. It's like you ask for a beer and your beer is $5 or even $4. Let's say you get a Pabst and for some reason it's $3. You would tip them a whole dollar. But you see a problem with tipping a DJ $1 for a song that's $1.29, and you get mad at them because they don't have it, and they ask you to at least pay for the fucking song.
Yeah.
Like, so you want me to go in the hole because you want this particular song that you listen to Spotify all day before you even came here, And there's like, there's a difference between somebody that does the 9 to 5 and they want to party on the weekend, and people that are creatives and their schedule is so fluid that most creatives will probably go out on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and thrive in those spaces where DJs are playing vinyl and other things, and nobody's telling them what to play. They're there to experience it. They're there to like enjoy the vibe and not be entitled and not get mad because somebody's or I'm sorry, this is a tangent now, but let's say you do entertain playing somebody a song, but then they want you to play it right away.
It's like, I got a whole rotation, and you want to kill the vibe because you feeling some type of way.
I've done that before, and it's killed the vibe before, and that's why I said I would never do it again.
Yeah, I think for people that don't understand sort of the creative process, it comes with a level of ignorance, but like that ignorance shows itself as like disrespect, and it's not really acknowledging sort of like the time and effort and preparation that like goes into like producing things, and producing an experience. And it's like after I like kind of come to, I think for animation for me, because I've had plenty of people come up to me and be like, hey, I want to do this, 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 and this. I got money to pay you, blah, blah, blah. And I tell them how like much it will cost, and I tell them how long it takes for like an animated thing to get done. And then they're like, oh, well, I just, like I want to do this and I want to do that, and I've never paid for this much before. I've never done this before. It's like, well, I understand that, but in order for me to do what I need to do, I need you to respect certain things, and people, it kind of goes over people's heads sometimes,
That makes me okay. So I'm gonna ask you a question, then. I know you're the interviewer, but I mean, to me, this is a conversation, really.
Oh yeah.
But like, I'm gonna start with just things I've thought about, and then I'll ask you the question. But I know for me, in my time of being an artist and a curator, and just somebody in the city that definitely cares about his community and shit. Like, I realize that I've been put in a lot of situations where people have devoted their time, to helping me, pursue my dreams or get an event rolled out or something like that, knowing I don't have the money to pay them per se.
Yeah.
Like, you're one of those people too, and so, like, where's the line drawn with that? Because even to this day, I still feel affected I still feel weird when people devote their time, and because I feel like when there's no money exchange, it's really hard to be like giving somebody a deadline or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
depending on the people.
yeah, it's and I'm like, and I do this a lot, and I think my girlfriend hates it because she's more alone, she's more like the 9 to 5 type of person, where she's like, and she works in healthcare, so she's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna work a 12-hour shift, make this amount of money, blah blah, whoop whoop whoop. That doesn't work for me, and so what I do is I always figure out like, okay, what is like the bare minimum that I could like, use or get, what is the bare minimum that I could, get the project done with, and then after that, I'm like, okay, if I'm taking a loss by working on this project, but the big gain is gaining that experience and building that rapport and really kind of like bringing an idea to life that like I have the power to do for other people. If I do that, I'm not going to, like the expectation becomes a lot lower, where it's not a favor like a hand me out, but like
you see the value that you get from it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not monetarily, I think that's that's the artist's way of looking at shit.
Yeah, but on the flip side, what I found is that even though, so like, say I'm working on like a 30-minute animated thing, and it takes me 3 to 4 hours per second to animate it, and I work for
fuck that.
Yeah, and I work for $20 an hour. I would normally charge like $1,500 for that. But I'll do it for $500 because I enjoy the person and I want to see them be able to produce something. I want to see like their project come to life, and I want to like that. That's my part of like paying it for it. But when I get to that point, and then I spent 60, 70 hours on the project, only getting paid $500 for it, and then they treat it as if they're paying full price. And
right,
and they're taking advantage of it. That's when I start to like draw the line, and I'm just like, well, like this is me helping you more than you're helping me, because I'm not doing this for promotion. Like I'm not doing this to get my name out there, because I could do a lot less work, with a lot less effort and spend a lot less time to get further. And so it's like, it becomes difficult when because often I find myself like in too deep on the project before they start to like ask for more and ask for more and ask for more, and it's like like,
nah, this 500 is for this.
Yeah,
let me do this. That's some more.
Yeah, and so I found that it's you kind of have to have a plan going into things like that, to where like what your breaking point is, what you're going to give to, and when they like try to toe that line, you kind of just have to nip it in the butt, because it last thing you need to be working on is a 3-month project, and that mess is just not getting done or dragging its feet. It's it's I think.
But I think sometimes it's not even about people not appreciating what you're doing or treating you, or them intentionally treating us or whoever as like they're paying you full price. But like, if people don't know, if this is their first time going about it, or they don't even know, what I'm saying? Like, you bring a service that most people don't have access to, right?
Yeah.
So they don't even know what all goes into it. Like, even if you tell them and initially what goes into it, it's like when you're in the midst of things and there needs to be edits and corrections and stuff like that, a lot of it tends to be less about maybe the lack of respect for what you're doing, but more, and I know, so there are people that definitely do, like, they're arrogant as fuck and shit for no reason. But I've noticed sometimes with me that it's not that, but more so, they just don't know how to go about things efficiently, which puts more work on everybody's plate. In which I've had to sit people down and be like, okay, like, we need to create some type of structure, because every time you rush to, like, and this is like people that help me out. Like, they'll rush to send me something, and I'm always noticing things they need to fix. And so it looks like I'm asking them to do a lot of shit, but in reality, it's because there's no protocol in which it's like, hey, don't export this file until you get the final okay. I know you know those type of things, but it's like I've noticed other people don't know those things. So like,
Yeah.
let's say like, you're doing animations, but then they also have a graphic designer or something, or somebody that's doing After Effects or whatever else is going into it, right? And the other person's fucking up, but then that affects you because now they're asking you to fix something they should probably ask somebody else to fix. You know, and it's like, I've learned to not get, I used to get offended by this type of shit. You know what I mean? Like they do not respect my time and da 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 da. And I know there's times where I haven't respected other people's time, right? And I had to like think about it and be like, all right, so what is it really? What's the reason why this is happening? We just don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, we might have a great idea and you might see the value in that idea and you want to help, but then it's like, we still don't know what the fuck we're doing, and we're hoping that you know so much about what's going on that everything will be okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's especially when you want to work with people in your community, and it's like there is going to be that sacrifice where it's like that patience, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think as like Black creators specifically, like, you have to, like, I've never felt that I've had the luxury of, you know, getting what I like rightfully earned, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I think I'm fortunate enough to have sort of like people in my corner and people that are like opening up opportunities for me, that are telling me like, hey, get what you think you like, don't try to undercut yourself. Like, get what you think you deserve for like working on this, because you need to be comfortable, and like everything shouldn't be a struggle, and
right,
and it's very hard to, for me, it's very hard to like wrap my mind around that. I think one of the projects that I mentioned before, or earlier, that fell through, they were like, send us an invoice for how much you think this project would cost to make for you. You know, don't try to just send a price so that you could get it. Actually send something that, like,
that's real. That is so real, because I've done that. I've definitely done that where I'm like, okay, because I know I've lost gigs on like sending people what my worth is because they go to the person that's cheaper, and it took a toll on me, and I got to the point where I started thinking like, I'm gonna send them this amount so I can get the job.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel good even when I got the job, because I knew I could have got more.
Yeah, it just becomes this sort of, I kid you not, I literally like was holding the email, like I had it typed out and everything, and I kept like going through and punching in the calculator like, okay, this is a big number, but this is what will work, you know, and really kind of psyching myself up to get what I deserve for certain things, and you know, often I go through and be like, okay, I've never done this before, so I'll take a loss and I'll just do it for experience. I'm getting paid a little bit of money, but I'm getting the experience, I'm building the connections, get something in my portfolio, all that. But after a while, I find that like that mentality never kind of goes away, And then at the end of the month, I'm like, dang, I'm a, I'm
Yo.
gonna have to, I might have to hit up somebody and do some Postmates or something, because this is man, it's
That's
rough.
funny you said that. As you were saying that process, the first thing that popped in my mind was like, but when does it stop? And then you said like it turns into this everlasting thing where you constantly feel like, okay, I still need to show and prove. And I think, you know why we do that? Because I realize what happens is, and it's not everybody, but I feel like the industries we work in, they intentionally kind of devalue what we're doing, and so psychologically we feel like we're still not there yet.
Yeah.
We're waiting for somebody to be like, okay, you're here now. Here's what you deserve. Like, and yeah, you're right. We have to start demanding what we deserve. And that's what I started doing, to the point where, like, even if people are saying, oh, he thinks he's the shit, or he's too arrogant, whatever, it's like, cool, I'll leave your spot. And then people keep asking me, why am I not DJing at this particular establishment anymore?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I did that on purpose to like have any backlash towards them. But once I did that and stood up for myself, I feel like the universe was like, all right, we're going to send people your way to let you know that people are seeking you out, and they went to these places that you were once at. And that means that you have value, and you can use that at the next place you go to. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it is, especially with black men and women. When you already have so much stuff stacked up against you, you already like climbing this hill, and you see people around you kind of zipping past for whatever reasons they have, various reasons. You even if institutionalism, racism, whether institutionalized racism, patriarchy, capitalism. Even though we know all this shit, our subconscious is still like, wait, I'm not good enough yet. Like,
yeah, it's like you can be
the shit, but
like the game, and you still falling in the traps. Like it's and I think it's really interesting because you like mentioned it earlier. Like my life technically hasn't really changed since like this whole Corona thing.
right.
I mean, I still, like my life hasn't changed. It's just that I leave the house less often than normal, but I'm still working on
other people way more.
Yeah,
you know why your life's changed? The people around you've changed.
Yes,
that's what's different.
My girlfriend is home. My girlfriend is home more, and it's affecting how much work I can get done, because because I'm trying to put in a full day's worth of work, and I can't because there's somebody trying to like do something in my space. I think the beauty of like kind of controlling your schedule, controlling your destiny, quote unquote, is that you aren't at the mercy of other people. You're not at the mercy of like other other things that like you can't control. Yes, you can't control like getting a contract and stuff. Like that stuff sucks, but like kind of like the core of what I do, I don't need anybody else for that,
Yeah. I was heavily hit, with this thing only because everything I've done monetarily deals with relationships.
Yeah.
And being around people and bringing people together and congregating and working with kids and all these other things that, you have to have face-to-face contact. And I wouldn't say have to, but as far as monetizing off of it, at this point, that's the best way I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so, I'm like, pretty much unemployed at this point, but I'm still an artist. I'm still a DJ. I'm still a producer. I'm still a staple in my community, I believe, to where it's like, all right, what could I be doing at this point? All right, I'm gonna work on myself. What
Yeah,
are all these things that I put on hiatus, because I've been on this daily grind?
exactly.
All these projects that I wanted to do. Oh, I've been eating out all the time because I DJ at bars and shit. And like, I want to become healthier. Okay, I'm gonna cook at home more. I'm gonna work on learning Ableton more. I got my homegirl Sassy Black that's offered to give me free online help with that shit. It's like, oh, let me come out of quarantine with some original music, hopefully, or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's just like perspective is very important. So like even though my money slowed up, I feel like I gained value, and I'm like rich with my relationships. People hitting me up, checking in. I had two homies. I didn't ask them for shit. They Venmo me like $100. They were just like, "Yeah, we know you're heavily impacted by this. Like, here you go." And it was like within the first 2 days, because around that time I was sleeping a lot and shit. Like, I was like, man, I got all. I mean, I went when this shit went down, bro. I was in Oakland. The plan was I was supposed to. I did DJ at Bar Shiru, which is this dope hi-fi bar in downtown Oakland. I like. And so I played there on Thursday, and then on Friday, I was supposed to play my friend's party called Sweat House in Starline. That got canceled Friday morning. So like I was there since Wednesday. Everything seemed to be a go still. Friday morning, my homegirl Bijou, I got up, I went in the living room, and she's like upset about something. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, well, seemed like we're not gonna do the party anymore, blah blah blah. And it's like, I paid for my own ticket. I was like, the whole premise was like I would get paid enough to pay for my ticket and have a little bit of spending money when I'm out there. But, I was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to take this L. So that's the first financial loss.
Yeah.
Then, then it's like, okay, I'm supposed to come back to Portland and play Playdate the next day. And
yeah.
I had the homie Dre Slaps call me the day before and was like, hey, bro, so I see you're still promoting your event. Like, I'm just wondering, like, what steps you're thinking about taking, blah, blah, because he had his event was supposed to be Friday and mine was Saturday. And when he posted that he wasn't going to do the event, then I was just kind of like, man, like, I don't really know how serious it is at this point yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to be seen as the guy that's like not caring about people's safety and shit. But then I'm like, I was just having this conflict. Finally, I hit the Holocene up. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to cancel. I had to cancel the day of. Mind you, that night, people still showed up.
Oh, dang.
So it's kind of like, yeah. But so that was another L. That was more money. I had to, the reason I wanted to continue to do it is because I also think about, like, I know the other DJs and stuff, and I know how it is. Like, when you plan out your budget, by the gigs you have. And I was like, well, Chuck Pasta was supposed to play with Dre on Friday and then play with me on Saturday at Holocene. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cancel. And then after that, around that weekend, I just got email after email after email. The gig at Hoxton got canceled. The gig, all these other gigs, like, I would say, like, in 48 hours, I definitely lost, like, 3 G's or more. And this is like, we're coming out of winter time, which is like a slow season for a lot of DJs and nightlife.
Mm-hmm.
Not like slow. It's not slow, but it's
like relatively
right after
compared.
New Year's.
Yeah.
Right after New Year's, it slows down a lot, And bro, like springtime, it was supposed to be. Everybody was like, "All right, we about to get it. There's new spots opening up. We over here scouting new venues, blah blah blah, all this shit." Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like I was supposed to go out to Denver and DJ. I was supposed to go out to Atlanta to go to my homegirl's wedding and then like try to network out there about some future shit. You know what I'm saying? Go to New York. Nope, none of that shit. And then I was just like really down about it. But then I realized like, you know what? Not everybody, but a lot of people I knew were in the same predicament as me. So I'm like, I'm no different than anybody else. So how can we come together and like build with each other? So I call my homies. I'm just like, yo, what's something that you wanted to do that you wasn't able to do because you had to worry about bills and shit? You ain't getting bread, so what you like? Tell them you ain't gonna pay them then. All right, cool. After that, what we gonna do? Like build yourself up so that when this shit is over with, like you already got the next platform going. If you need to get your website together, get the website together, which I've been procrastinating on.
Yeah.
I hit up my homie and I was just like, yo, I was like, hey, bro, I know we've been talking about this website, bro. Let's get back on it. And he's like, yeah, sorry, bro. I've been like, because he's a photographer. He's been on tour and shit. And I was just like, no, I'm not tripping, bro. And then he's like, gonna help me with my logos and shit. So when I come out of this, bro, I plan on having merch. I plan on, whether I have to make the merch on my credit card or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I plan on having merch. I plan on fucking doing more live stream events.
Yeah, like that's been like the big thing for me, is that one, I've always wanted to get into like 3D modeling and like 3D animation. And so now I'm like pretty much live streaming me learning how to 3D model and animate and just kind of adapting because, like this is like the worst part about it is this is convention season.
Yo, that's what I'm saying.
Like the conventions that I had lined up for all like my studio stuff, because that's how I make all like the money from to like keep all like the Utopia stuff going, is from like conventions and getting subscribers and stuff. And so it's just like, like I'm really bad at like selling stuff online relative to like most people that like sell stuff online. And so it's like, I got a website, need to, get that going, all that. But it's really just investing in the things that I should have like invested in like a lot longer, like before. And so really kind of like giving myself permission to like dive deeper into the things that I've just neglected that I ultimately like are going to help me coming out of this,
Yeah, man. It's like we just been cloudy. I mean, honestly, bro, like I feel for some people because it's like there's people that work their whole life to have a certain career, and there's a high chance that job is not even going to be around anymore.
Man,
like,
imagine,
you know what I'm saying? Like
imagine your goal was to open up a movie theater.
Oh yeah, that's right.
or just like open up a bar, or just like open up any sort of brick and mortar right now that like is supposed to get people in it. It's like,
yep.
Like, man, it's but I think this is sort of the there's a reason why like technology exists, because it's supposed to like make things easier for people, but really it's supposed to like, transcend some of the things that happen to like the world, like there's pandemics that happen, there's wars that happen, all these things. And so, technology is supposed to help us like get to like a new normal without like losing everything,
I mean, yeah, I would say like being able to FaceTime or Google Hangout somebody is definitely an advantage we have than people that dealt with pandemics, back in the day. But I would say even then, back in the day, I guess people wouldn't have had access to all those people to even care about them.
Yeah.
It's like because we have the technology, that's why we miss everybody, because we're used to seeing everybody. Or just, we're in cities and shit now compared to back in the day when you're in
freaking huts,
towns and you know what I'm saying? So the pandemic didn't really affect people mentally as much as it does now. I think the biggest negative effect of the pandemic is how it affects people mentally.
Yeah, it's well, because for a lot of people, I mean, pretty much like the 9 to 5 person that doesn't have control over their destiny, essentially, or like what they do. Um, you know, it it's like their world got ripped from under them overnight. You know, you wake up and the state issues a freaking uh like a self quarantine, and you can't go to work, and your job doesn't have any work from home policy, and then it's like, crap, what do I do?
You know, what I've noticed though is that people honestly, bro, I know so many people that talk about how they hate their jobs and shit, and so when it happened, I was just like, well, this is what you wanted, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's better that it happened this way than you losing your job in a thriving economy.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, because now there's going to have to be something, for example, there's going to have to be something done to where people get back on their feet so they can spend money. If nobody's spending money, then what would we have? Unless the goal is to have everybody just be entertained through Netflix and Hulu and shit for the rest of their lives.
yeah. I mean,
which is some Wall-E type shit, you know.
right? Like that. Yeah, it's this is just it's interesting. And so
That's the thing. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, one of the things that like I'm really like curious with you is like what do you see as sort of the next thing moving forward for you? Like now that things are, I mean, just this is essentially going to be a new normal for a little while.
I mean, so I mean, prior to this happening, I only had 2 DJ residencies per se, which was Playdate at Holocene, and I just started having a residency at Halo with D-Lo, called Boogie, which we ended up doing a live stream of Boogie a couple weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. And or maybe it was a week and a half. I don't know. Like I said, my days and weeks are all fucked up right now. But we had like over 3,000 people stream that shit, which compared to other people were in the 700s, 800s and stuff. I'm just like, oh, bet, like we can do something with this. So I think for me, my goal is just to continue to live stream events, maybe get me a setup where I can start just doing live stream DJ sets at the crib.
Yeah. Just get everything
just maintain
all set
my
up,
notoriety,
webcam and everything.
Yeah, just maintain my notoriety so that when this is said and done, like honestly, this is a blessing in disguise because I feel like more people outside of Portland are starting to know who I am.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, it's like, I randomly did a playlist the other day called the Quarantine Fix. And it's like 5 hours and 55 minutes of music. And I did it 5 hours and 55 minutes on purpose because, I mean, I don't know if you're into numerology or anything like that. I kind of feel like there's some truth in a lot of different things if we put our, energy into it, like, but 555 is supposed to mean, a huge positive change. Like the universe is creating this shift, and like you just have to be ready for the change and prepared for the change.
Okay.
And it's funny because I used to be afraid of that shit. Like I used to see that shit all the time, and I noticed the more I fought it, the more worse off I was with shit. And the more I started to accept it, the more like I started to see the blessings that was around me and being present. Like, oh shit, like my family's here to help me. My friends are here to help me. Like, there's people that see what I'm doing, even if I don't know who they are, that actually want me to succeed. Even in times like these. And so, I put that playlist out and people really fucked with it. It's like I literally made that on fucking Spotify, and it's just like and I did it for me, where it was just like, yo, like I put songs that were nostalgic to me along with newer shit, and was just like, all right, bet. And at this point, for me, like I haven't like the most likes I had on a Spotify playlist in the past was I think 24. Right now it's at like 76 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's only been out for a few days, and I know that's not like a high number, but just to compare to like, just because so by me saying 76 people liked it, then I know that more people actually listened to the playlist.
Yeah.
You know, that's just 76 people that actually like the shit.
Well, it's a noticeable, it's a metric that you can measure. It's like, you know, typically I get this and now I'm getting this. So if you keep at it, you're only going to get more.
Yeah. And then like, you know, a friend of mine had reposted it on her shit and she was like, make sure to tip your DJ, like blah, blah. And, you know, and then she had sent me money via Venmo, and then other people sent me money via Venmo. So it's just like an idea of me just making a playlist and putting it on the internet just to have content out there, turned into something where people I didn't even know was sending me some money, whether it was $5 or $1 or 10 or whatever. Yeah. And was just like, yo, that's dope. So I really feel like the future with me is maintaining this online presence, you know. You know, the thing that what I did with D-Lo, the Boogie stream, we had the homies from V1 Creative and them involved, and we actually had a team of people live streaming. We had like 5 different camera angles and shit. We had the the homie mixing drinks. We had a liquor sponsorship. We had it was illegal mezcal. And so like, bro, if you look at it, I could send you the link. But illegal mezcal was right behind us. We did it in Church Bar. We had the homie J.O. shaking up drinks, and when they changed the angle to show him shaking up drinks and dancing and shit, like we put the actual like ingredients list and the directions to make the drink up there. Ooh. So people just knew so people knew. So it's like, you know, so it's like we're finding ways to make what we're doing attractive to sponsors, essentially.
Like that sounds like a legit recipe for success right there.
Yeah, and so I mean, shout out to D-Lo. You know, I think, you know, his goal with us doing this was to show people what can be done, because a lot of people are doing live streams and they're half-assing it, you know.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, some people just doing it for fun, but it's like, you know, D-Lo and I, like, this is how we make our money. This is how we make our living. You know, there's people out here that DJ that have a 9 to 5. You know, and so they're not as affected as the rest of us.
Yeah.
And so I see that in the future, you know. I see bringing back other things like Vice and Virtue, like I had out in the past. That was originally like leather accessories and stuff like that. Like, I'm gonna still do some of that, but like, I mean, the original, when I first thought about Vice and Virtue, was just like the duality of human nature, like pretty much what it is. Like, I want it to be a real lifestyle brand. So now where I'm at now is just like, you know, through my journey, like I've been making my own hair oil and shit like that. I've been twisting my own dreads. I've been at this point doing this own growth for me.
You doing product development, like you. So I'm like, you doing a bunch of stuff.
Yo, so yeah, I'm like, yo, let me bring Vice and Virtue back, and yeah, I want to do like clothing and stuff with it, but I think for me, it's just like, I don't want it to be like everybody else's shit, where it's just like everybody's making clothing and apparel, or like, you know, and they do it for a couple years and they fall off. Like for me, like, I want it to be in a sense of like, even if I have other people that have their own business of what they're doing, and I'm just like, yo, come do this with me, you know, and like, you like, literally, it would be like, I have homies, right, that do stuff and they don't even know how to price their own shit.
Hey,
so if I could pay you more than what you normally get paid, and I still can make a profit off of this under Vice and Virtue, and you're officially a part of like the board members or whatever, like, I'm down to do that. Like, why work harder? Why work harder and smarter? Why I always have to do shit myself? Why not see other people doing something and elevate where they're at and be like, okay, we can we can keep doing these markets and shit, or we can like expand.
Yeah.
Through Vice and Virtue, and my brand is Vanport. You know, if I'm traveling and DJing as Vanport and I bring Vice and Virtue with my merch, then how does that work? You know what I mean? Or like, you know, the thing I was doing with D-Lo and stuff is like we start getting promoted or getting more sponsorships and partnerships. Like, honestly, I don't even want to do sponsorships at this point. Like, I want to get to the point where it's partnerships. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, and I've been talking to some businesses, and things are just kind of in the murky area because of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're down, they want to do it, but it's like they're also having a debate on laying off people or like, you know, was it furloughing or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah,
you know,
like
they're trying to figure
like
things
they
out.
like zero things out, furloughing, all that. It's just, you know, man, that conversation I had just like killed me, where they were just like, man, we ain't got no money. I was like, crap, dang, it's difficult. I mean, this is a defining moment for a lot of people, you know, and it's how you kind of respond to this and figure out a way to be successful in it. And it's just difficult, you know. It's and on top of that, you try not to get sick, like you know, like dealing with health insurance and all that stuff. It's just tough. This is really tough.
Dealing with not having health insurance, no.
Yeah, like it's tough. But you know, I think we're at the hour and a half mark right now, and so
for real?
yeah, it went by, you know. So typically, like one of the things that has been kind of a defining thing with the podcast is I live off of NATO, so you'll hear the freaking train coming by. And so every time like that train comes by, it's like, okay, it's been a little while. And so to kind of like wrap it up with the podcast, you know, like what is, because you're a Portlander, Black Portlander, like what is the blackest thing? What is the blackest experience you've had in Portland?
I don't even know what that means, bro. Like, I don't even know how to like. It's the blackest experience I've had in Portland. I don't know, like going to barbecues with my family at the park or some shit. I don't even know, like what is black? I guess that's my thing is what's your definition of black? Because I think, you know, rock and roll is black. Like, you know, like black is in 2020. What's defined as being black in 2020, or like?
Oh, I've
never been able to answer that question.
Well,
you know?
it's from what I've garnered from people is that it's just a subjective thing. I mean, you're black. What do you do? What are the best experiences that you've had in Portland while being black? That's essentially how I see it.
What's the best experiences I've had in Portland while being black?
Well, I one of the reasons I worded a certain way is that this podcast focuses on just talking to black people that are doing things in Portland, and by doing things in Portland and going out and just engaging, you have experiences when it interfaces with other black people, i.e. when you walk into a room in Portland, there's a whole bunch of black people, you're like, whoa, this is a great feeling. And often it's really hard to like articulate how that, like, what that feeling actually is. And so
you
I'm
know
like
what
always really curious.
I get it. It's hard for me to say, like, to pick one thing, but I'll just name something that just comes to mind. I'll word it this way. As a black man in Portland, it really made me feel like whenever I go to like my people's market or other type of marketplaces where like I can spend my money to my own people, like that's the best feeling I've had being black in Portland. Even though that's something that is more accessible in other cities. So like that's the thing is like I don't. It sounds weird me saying this because it's in Portland and it's rare. It's
Yeah.
rare to have many places to spend your money and know that you're putting it back into your community. But I love, you know what it is? I love the fact that through adversity and like, you know, redlining and not like we were never supposed to be here, not at least not this long, you know. You know, my DJ name is Vanport, and that's significant because both sides of my family came up to Oregon around that time. And, you know, my family's from Louisiana and Mississippi and stuff. So, you know, initially that was supposed to be on a short contracted basis, you know, and they ended up, hold on one second. I'm going to go in my room real quick because I don't know what you can hear and can't hear. I'm going to bring that back. Just because, like, my roommates just came back from a jog and, like, I can't tell if them talking is going to be heard in the podcast. I hope you have great editing skills.
You know, I make do. I make do with the software I got.
I mean, it's as simple as just chopping shit up.
Oh yeah, like what I'm doing is I'm doing like pretty much an unfiltered like version for like Patreon, and then like the thing that goes out on like Apple Podcasts and everything is like the chopped up version.
Oh, so they gonna hear all this bullshit. All right,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Nah, man. Okay, bet. So, appreciate the transparency. So, no, like, being one thing that really resonated with me, within the last year or so, was just no matter what, we always find a way to convene together in a space. If you remember a few years ago, like we couldn't even have hip hop shows and shit. And like whenever there was a certain amount of black people in one space, you know, they would try to equate it to like some gang activity or whatever else it may be. And I find a lot of joy in seeing with like my sisters at YGB and you know, I love seeing like Noche Libre. I know that that's not necessarily black, but you know, we're all closely knit within the diaspora of Africans over there. But I just love seeing us congregate in a space and get to enjoy each other and embrace each other and like spend money and break bread with each other. Like I don't even care about the holidays. And like when they had the night market, which was like, I want to say, I don't know if it was close to the holidays or not, but like, or it might have been like in the fall, but like, it made me spend my money. It made me want to go and buy gifts for people. It made me want to show my appreciation for other people in my life. And it's like the businesses that people had was like, there was holistic businesses. There was, even cats like you, they're like showing people, hey, like, I'm creating this augmented reality app, you know, like, remember when I was talking about doing this mini series? Well, it's evolved to this and like, you know, like, just being very future focused. And, I enjoy seeing my other artist homies that are black, like bigging up each other and like supporting each other, even though it could be more support. So I'm gonna be real about that. But like my personal experience, we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
We still here. Like ultimately that's what it is. Like, if we're talking about Portland and being black in Portland, ultimately is we're still here. We still support each other at whatever capacity that we're doing it. We're still doing it. It's really hard to grade it and give you specific things all the time. But there's times where I'm really down about being black in Portland. But then it's like, I'm reminded like, wait, we've been here. We've evolved. I could tell you that it's never going to be the same. Like my, all of my family used to live close by each other. My aunt lived across the street from my Momo's house. My grandparents' house, where I lived and grew up at, was on 32nd and Wygant, which was a bike ride to my Momo's house. Like, my other cousins lived around the corner. Like, I live off of Mississippi now. I had male relatives that lived over here that don't live over here anymore. So there's scarcity when it comes to the density of our population. But I think being black in Portland actually makes you have a one-up on a lot of shit, because you learn how to move. You just learn how to move and still learn to be yourself at the same time. I'm at a point in my life where, like, yeah, we code switch and shit all the time, but like for me personally, I'm at a point where I'm not code switching anymore. Like, the relationships I have, business wise or whatever, like, I'm honest. I'm doing me. I support my people, even if there's certain people that don't support me back. And I do see some reciprocity. If it's not from them, it's from somewhere else. And I like the fact that there's money in art here. Like, even though we talk about not being able to see our value as artists and musicians and shit. I mean, there's a lot of black artists that have gotten a lot of support from money here, like tax money or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
building those relationships with those people.
Even just like just the opportunity to, like, so this, like, the past 3 months, my like streams of revenue have come from like doing stuff in in Portland public school system, at Multnomah County Library system, freaking doing like the markets, like film, like just nonprofit work, like, and I'm all
very community focused.
Yeah, and it's all within the skill set that I use. And so it's like, the opportunities here are, amazing. And it's not a dime a dozen. There's definitely a lot of opportunities when you know where to look, and
that's the thing. Access. And so, sorry, I know this is supposed to be the end, but another thing that I see in my future, I've been talking to my friends about it, is providing access, letting people know that you have access to all these fucking things. Like, OMSI has a fucking teen center where they have a recording studio with the actual recording booth and microphone, full ass mixing board, a DJ setup, electronic drum kit, fucking 3D printers.
Oh, OMSI got 3D printers too?
Bro, they got the 3D printers for the kids. They got they got all the graphic, like the Photoshops and all that shit. They have like the big iMacs, and they have it connected to the damn iPad too, so you could draw on the iPad and see it on the iMac. Like, they have all this shit and I asked my homegirl, because she works at OMSI, and like I've DJ'd there and done some other things, and she asked me to volunteer with the kids there, and I was just like, I'm down, but like, how are we gonna, like, how do people know about this? How do the kids know about this? Are the schools telling them and stuff? And she was just kind of like, no, like, is this, I don't know if it's word of mouth or what, but I was just like, more people need to know about this. Like, if I'm gonna volunteer my time, then I want my people there. Like, whether we bust them there or what, like, we got to find a way to get them down there.
Like,
and then so there's that. There's access to the grants. There's cats I know that I'm surprised don't know about the grant money that's out here. Like, prior to COVID and shit, if you were an artist and you wanted to like make an album or some shit, you literally could write a grant and be like, yo, I need 5 G's that includes studio time, this, and this. And you might or might not get it, but in other cities, there's so many more of us there, just population wise, whether you black, white, or whatever, that the probability that you're gonna get the grant is slim to none compared to just trying to get a grant in Portland.
Yeah.
And Portland has and they have all this money for it,
Portland, like Oregon has money, and most of the money goes to Portland because that's where the industry is at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you got Corvallis, and you got Oregon, or you got Eugene, and then you got Portland, and then you have the area Bend, which is just like just stuff. Like it's just trees and stuff,
Right.
you know. And so the money, the
Smith
industry,
rocks.
yeah, like the industry is in Portland, and it's and you're right, like you know, literally in like this 3-4 mile radius, we got OMSI, which has like a whole bunch of stuff. You got the Wacom Center, which your boy Gaijin is always there, and
Oh yeah.
and I told him about Rockwood. You know, the Multnomah County Library System is like by far the best library system in the nation because they got like $20,000 worth of like 3D printing stuff. You know, 3D
What?
printing resources. Yeah. So I out in Rockwood, I you know, I volunteer out there because volunteers have access to that stuff. And if you volunteer, I mean you know, like you're part of that system and you could have access to it. You know, and it's there, you know, like there's so much money out here and that it creates more points for access. But I found that, you know, they'll make stuff, but then they won't let people know about it, so that it's just within the circle of people that know about it. And,
Exactly.
you know, because I found out about Rockwood when I went to Deadstock and somebody was talking about it. And I was like, what? They got 3D printers where? At a library? All I gotta do is show up or sign up? What? And then I went online, found out about it, signed up, showed up, and then they were like, hey, you could volunteer and you could have more access. It's like, what?
And that's crazy too, because it's like, you know, the money is going to the stuff that they say they're gonna do, but it's like they literally should be going into the schools and telling these kids, hey yo, there's this thing in OMSI, like, you know, it might be limited spots, but like every fucking day after school, there could be an after school program where they get bussed over there, or one day a week, so that you have, you know, even if it's something where it's like, you know, each week has a different school district, and then you have 5 to 7 different, like 5 different, like, schools within those districts, have the kids go over there one day out of the week just to introduce them to it, and then they can choose to go there whenever they want and sign up and get their own membership and whatever. But it's just like, it's crazy. And it's, the thing is like the people at OMSI, they want more kids there. It's not that they don't.
Yeah, they just don't know how to market. It's not even
right. Exactly. So it's like, honestly, like, bro, like if people want to pay me for that and see the value in what I'm doing, like, I would love to like help market those things better. I mean, it's just that I wouldn't want to be exclusive to one particular organization because
well, it sounds like the seeds of a grant.
Huh?
It sounds like the seeds of a grant.
That's true. That's true.
But
I guess what I'm saying is like I don't want it to just stop there. And so it's like, even like with Chapter, like, you know, originally Chapter, I wanted to be a publication, you know, and we did destination pieces on different local businesses as well as like smaller businesses around the country, and we've done like fashion editorials with like people aspiring to be designers, things like that. Like, I still want to implement those things to cater to a certain audience or draw a certain audience, but I think there just needs to be a central site, a hub where we can put all this shit in one place.
Hey, I may have an opportunity if you're interested in that. What you just said. Yes. Like I may, because you know Donovan Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. And so he's on the Flossin Magazine project with me right now, and I mean, there's opportunities. You know, there's some opportunities for doing exactly what you said. And so I could connect you with John, and you know, he would I mean, you talk about producing content, he's looking for content, you know.
I feel you on that. But when you know, there might be slight conflict of interest, but
Yeah,
I don't, but at the same time, like, for me, it's like, I also see the value in, like, okay, what's your focus? What's my focus? And I would still, like, partner up with you and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because I can't do everything. It goes back to what I said before. If somebody else is doing something that I think needs to be done, and it's not, I don't have the time or space to do it, I will still assist them. I think with the chapter thing, it's like, it's evolving beyond a publication. So I think there wouldn't be really necessarily a conflict of interest. What I would actually ask them would be, how interested would they in being a part of a larger collective?
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm at. It's like, you know, we talk about the internet and shit, and it's like, unless you have a lot of capital, how are you gonna, you know, be the number one search on Google if somebody's trying to Google a certain name? And I'm, you know, for me, I think it has a lot to do with how many dope brands are associated with that brand, and it makes it a collective. Yeah. And it's not even a collective in a sense of, like, it's not even to say that, like, Flossin would have to, like, it's not even to say that, like, let's say Chapter was the overarching collective, right? It's not even to say that Flossin was paying Chapter. It's more like, for exposure and notoriety for everybody, we're doing our own thing, but we ride together. Yeah. We're like, hey, you know, our finances have nothing to do with each other, but, like, when people see us, they're like, oh shit, you know, Chapter is affiliated with Flossin, which is affiliated with Playdate, which is affiliated with, you know, whatever, Tips on Failing, which is the studio, the gallery and studio space with Gage and Anthony Taylor, and it's like, and which is affiliated with Forest for the Trees, which was like the mural festivals that we were having here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is affiliated to other event spaces and restaurants and blah, blah, blah around the city. Yeah. That's getting notoriety for their own thing.
It's an association.
It literally, that's all I want to do with this.
Yeah.
And thank you for calling it association. I'd rather call it association than collective. But then, like, but even, like, I want to have an online gallery, like, where one of the biggest issues, man, and, like, I know somebody might be like, ooh, I'm going to do that. I mean, if they do it better than me, go ahead and take the idea. But, like, I'm sure it's been done before. But one of the biggest issues I've seen with homies doing, like, gallery openings and shit is most of the people that want to buy your shit can't afford it. At least the people in Portland. You know, you go...
Yeah, everybody, for the most part. You know, I think that's been kind of the foundation of, like, all the stuff that I sell. It's because people can't afford the other stuff.
And so, like, when you... For example, like, First Thursdays would be a good example. Like, I've seen plenty of shows where motherfuckers barely sell shit on First Thursday because the majority of people that come on First Thursdays are younger cats that want to enjoy the art and they appreciate it, but it's also a way for them to get free booze because they're broke. Now, you know, but, like, if you have it showcased online for people that can't be there, let's say that's not geographically in Portland, but have the access and the money to buy your shit, then they can just buy that shit online and, like, literally have an online gallery that's not like a regular gallery, but like a 3D art gallery. Yeah, like, literally, we have the technology for that
shit. Like the Google Maps thing, where you, like, do the street view.
Yeah, you can walk in the bitch. Yeah, you can walk in the bitch. You can look around 360 and, you know, see it as if you were there. Obviously, you wouldn't get the full experience, but it's just like, you know, and that's something I want to do with, like, Tips on Failing and shit with some of the future events. I had talked to Anthony about doing it with his Ain't No Saint one, but like by the time I brought that up to him, like he was already like towards the end of the rollout for that. But that's the type of stuff I would like to host on Chapter. Have an online store with all, like, have Vice and Virtue, your shit, Gaijin's, everybody's shit on one fucking site, and like the percentage that we take from it isn't like as if we're a retail space taking 40% or whatever. It's more like a percentage that's like us paying our dues to keep the shit running. Like I don't want that thing to be a reason why people are like, we're going to make money solely off of that. No, I want that to be an engine for us to all have exposure so we can make money, because we all do dope shit.
Yeah.
It becomes the right people see it.
It becomes how to make it self-sustaining opposed to how to just get a quick buck off of it. Because we see
my biggest issue with being a business person, like trying to start a business, is like through capitalism, it's like you always have to do better than the previous year. And I've been wanting to find a way where it's like whatever model I choose for this thing, it's not about doing better than the previous year. It's about sustaining, and the other businesses below inside the association is doing better and better and better.
Yeah.
If you can have, like, I don't know if that's even possible.
Well, I would say that I've been looking into sort of, cause like for my business, Iltopia Studios, I don't have an exit plan. I do have an exit plan, but like I don't want an exit plan because, that's not why I started this. And so I've been looking into what they call zebra companies, where they're companies that don't have an exit plan because they're purpose driven companies. And so the goal with capitalism is their goal is to make money, but the reason they're making money isn't to pay dividends to their investors. It's to pay it forward. It's to create more opportunities for people because they have the money to do it. And so, because I was looking at back in the time where I was like debating between if I wanted to do like a nonprofit or for-profit company, I settled on a for-profit because the problem with nonprofits is they can't have money on the books that kind of turns over every year. So they always have to break even. They can't make profit. That means that they're beholden to investors, they're beholden to grants, they're beholden to all those other things. And if they don't get that money, they can't do the stuff that they want. And so it's, being that I produce products, AR stuff, books and everything, if I make more books and I sell more books, then I'm able to do a lot more for my community with the money that I earn from it. And that's kind of like my way of like coming to terms with like capitalism, because I've seen the other side with I've seen the stress that comes with trying to get money through nonprofits, and that's just something that like I don't have the patience for. I mean, other people do, but like for me as a creator and an artist, I want people to see my stuff. I want people to buy my stuff. And I want to open up opportunities with the work that I produce, and that kind of just narrowed me down that lane of going the for-profit route, and really starting a business, because I mean, in this day and age, if you want to make something happen, you kind of have to start a business and do it through that, like that's the harsh reality of it, whether I like it or not.
No, that's real. But I think, we got a lot to build off from after this, including like with your augmented reality and like music shit.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, like, I appreciate you reaching out, because honestly, like, this is reminding me of other things that I need to follow up on, which is like checking in on you and the other homies. Like you mentioned Gaijin, like I was talking to him the other day because he came through when the last DJ gig I had, actually. I did somebody's first Thursday event and he came through. And I I was talking to him about the whole chapter thing and all that kind of stuff, and just having an overarching like association or collective. Because like when this shit is all said and done, and people are trying to like get their bearings straight, it's like it's gonna be better for everybody if there's one thing that people can look at and then see the real, and then see everybody below it, like, oh shit, like this is what y'all been doing, like, versus like, hey, like we're fighting for likes, we're fighting for viewership. It's like as a collective we're getting a lot of viewership. It's like you know, me, D-Lo, V1 Creative, and the other homies did that streaming thing, and there was homies we had a homie in London promoting our shit. We had a homie in Miami promoting our shit. And like, you know, yeah, 3,000 plus. I want to say it was definitely over 4,000. I'm not going to front. But I just remember seeing 3,000 or something when I glanced at it during the actual stream.
Yeah.
But that doesn't show, that was like at the same time. But over the whole, you know, time, I don't even know how many people streamed over the whole time yet.
Yeah.
And like, that just showed me the power in like people coming together. And like some of the people on that team we just met. Like we didn't even know some of those people. And then like they were at the point where they're just like, yo, I came in here, I didn't know none of y'all, but like this is amazing, and like I can't wait to do this again with y'all. And the only thing that's holding us back from doing it is the quarantine thing, because like, you know, we're, you know, that's the thing about the streaming thing too, is like we're coming together to do this shit for people in quarantine, but then we're kind of unquarantining ourselves to do it.
Yeah,
you know,
there's ways around it, with like webinars and like a few other things. I mean, technology is there. Whether you're
technology's there, but you have people.
Yeah, like
you have people controlling the cameras and shit though. You have people that's there. You have DJs like me. It's like we're supposed to be 6 feet from each other, but like when I DJ at Holocene on the 11th, I have 2 other DJs with me. We're not going to be 6 feet from each other. That's what shit I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
like there's platforms that you could use, but the barrier of entry is probably not where it should be for during the quarantine. You know, like, because eventually, I mean, hopefully that's one of the things that we could get from this, is that, you know, we will get we'll get something to use that we could do live streams with other people in real time, you know, across the country. And I don't know, you know, I think there's opportunities. I'm just curious to see like what comes out of like this, because I know there's something that's going to come out of this.
Honestly, like I feel like people will become more human.
Yeah.
Just with this social distancing, people are starting to realize how much they take certain things for granted. You know, like I can't go see I can't go and hang out with my grandparents, and I want to now. But then when I was busy and shit, like I wasn't hanging out with them all the time. You know, like
or
you know
just,
what I mean?
Or
like,
just like the simple thing of like Oregon was like, man, it's so bad, y'all got to pump your own gas.
I mean, yeah, I'm used to pumping my gas, so that's just funny to me. Sometimes it's a hassle for me to wait for somebody to pump my gas. Like I'll be in a rush and I'm like, they got one person and like the whole thing is full. I'm just like, all right, bro.
And
like,
then when you say like, oh, I'm paying with debit, then they make you come out and punch the little card in and then get back in the car. I'm just like, come on now.
Or if you got cash, you got to go inside anyway. Like,
yeah.
Well, that depends on if you're in the hood or not. Well, what's the hood anymore? So
yeah, yeah. But you know, we are at the 2-hour mark, so I will let you go,
all right, bro.
but I really appreciate the time. You know, definitely send me over the link to the live stream that you guys did. And I'll put that on the thing, because one thing that I do is I produce a lot of brands, and so SEO and marketing and inbound links and outbound links, that's one of the things that I'm really excited about with this project, is kind of allowing people to have a better footprint on the internet with the stuff that they're doing. you know. And
Nice.
and so yeah, you know, shoot me over any of the links that you want me to put on the blog and the podcast and everything, you know. And yeah, kind of stay safe, you know, stay safe.
You too, bro. Be easy, man.
Yep. Okay, have a good one. Again, I want to give another shout out to the Soul District Business Association and Flossom Media for helping me put this on. I'm your host, Stephen Christian. I mixed and mastered this podcast. I also did all the interviews. And if you see any of the stuff on YouTube, I put all that stuff together as well. With all the social distancing things right now, I'm producing this right out of my home studio. So if you have a chance, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Medium, at PDX Black Rose, which is PDX BLACKROSE. And if you're on Patreon, hit us up on there. We would love your support. If you don't do anything else, definitely rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. And on top of that, be sure to share this with your friends. The purpose of this podcast is to highlight the movers and shakers in Portland that are doing things in the Black community. And by supporting this podcast, you're supporting the community as a whole. So with that being said, thank you for your time, and I'll catch you on the flip side. The intro song is brought to you by Andy Stokes, and the outro song is brought to you by Spring Gang from Epidemic Sound.